everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet our 6-inch paw print granny square or crochet square. It's a lot of fun. We start with the circle, we change colors, and we bring our paw little toes in, and you'll notice they're 3D. So they stick up. It's super cute, but it's also a really easy pattern. I'm planning on using up a lot of my leftover scraps and making my dogs a blanket. Or maybe I'll keep the blanket for myself. Now you can find this free crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make your 6-inch paw print squares, you're going to need some yarn, of course, and I'm just using my leftovers that are all acrylic yarns. Some might be solids, some might be variegated, some might be striped, just whatever I have on hand in my scrap basket. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using pink and blue. I'm going to do the cream portion in this blue, and I'm going to do the paw print portion and the toes in this pink. We're going to be stitching today with our H hook, and our H hook is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle to weave in those ends, and you'll need your scissors. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5 chains. We're going to join this chain 5 into a circle. So we'll put the tail of yarn over our hook and we'll pull it through. We'll snug this down and tie a stay knot so that our circle stays together, or our loop. We'll put our hook through, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet 11 more times in this chain 5 loop. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So there's 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and 12. Now you'll notice as I was stitching my double crochets, I stitched over this tail of yarn. And the reason is we want to pull this closed so that we don't have a hole in the center of our paw print. So we'll join to the top of our chain 3 with a slip stitch. We'll chain 3. Then we'll turn this over and pull that string. And that closes up the hole in the center of our paw print. We'll go ahead and take our needle and weave that in, and then we won't have to worry about that later. All right, clip that off, and now for row 1 we have 12 double crochets joined to our chain 3 and chained 3. For row 2, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of these double crochets around. Our chain 3 counts as our first, so we'll place another double crochet right in that same stitch, and then we'll place 2 double crochets in each of those 12 double crochets, And of course, then we'll have 24 double crochets. So, 2 double crochets in each double crochet around. And we'll join back to our chain 3. Now, for row 2, you should have 24 double crochets. We joined to the top of our chain 3, but we did not chain 3 because we're going to bring in our second color. We're not going to cut our first color. We're going to bring in our second color, and then we're going to chain 3. When you change colors and your first chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, you don't want to do that before you do your color change, or you'll have one stitch that's the wrong color. Alright, so now what we're going to do for row number 3 is we're going to place 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and 1 double crochet in the next. 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2, and 1 double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this pattern of 2 double crochets and 1 double crochet, 2 and 1 in the next. We'll repeat this all the way around and join back to our chain 3. Two double crochets in the next stitch, 1 in the next, and repeat all the way around. I've completed row 3 and I have 36 double crochets. Now, we're not going to cut off our blue yarn. We're going to bring back in our pink, and we're going to make our little paw prints. Snug that down. And you'll notice on the top here you have loops on this side and loops on this side. We're going to be working our paw prints in the front loops of this row. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go right in that first front loop, and the front loop is the loop that's facing you. The back loop is the loop that's facing away. Alright, so we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then in the next stitch, stitching in the front loop, we're going to stitch 3 triple crochets. So I've wrapped 2 wraps around my hook. I'm going to go just in the front loop, yarn over and pull a loop through, and you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over and go through those third 2. And we'll do this 2 more times in this same front loop stitch. Now we're going to chain 3. We're going to slip stitch in the next front loop of the next stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in the next and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. So we've made one of our little toes of our paw print. All right. 2 wraps, 1, 2. We'll go in the front loop of the next stitch and stitch 3 triples. 1, 2, 3, and chain 3. We'll slip stitch in the next stitch, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. And remember, we're working all in the front loops for our little toes of our paw print. I want to show you. I'm going to turn this over so you can see. Our color number 2 is still attached. Here's where I carried my yarn up from color 1, and you'll notice here is our back loops. All right. So I've done 2 toes and I need to do 2 more. All right, so chain 3, 3 triples in the front loop of the next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, slip stitch in the front loop of the next stitch, then slip stitch in the next. And I have 1 more toe to make. Make sure I got enough yarn here. All right, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 2 wraps, 3 triples in the front loop of the next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3 and slip stitch in the next stitch, and then we'll slip stitch in the next stitch and tie off. This time we're going to cut our yarn. We're all finished with the color number 1. We're going to tie this off to the back, and this is how it should look at this point. We've got our 4 toes stitched in the front loops. I'm going to turn it over again so you can see the back. See all our back loops back here? So here's my 4 toes. I went ahead and weaved in my pink yarn where I ended with my toes, and I went ahead and made sure everything was nice and tidy on the back of my square. I'm one of those people that like to deal with my ends as soon as possible. All right, so now for this next row, row 5, we want to bring back in our blue yarn. All right, and so what we're going to do, I want to turn this over so that you can see this row. We're going to be stitching all in the back loops of our granny square on this row. All right, so we're going to push those toes forward, and that's just so we can see those stitches up here. All right, so we're going to go right in that first back loop. We're going to pull up our yarn and we're going to chain 3. Then we're going to double crochet in that same stitch and chain 2. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in that same back loop stitch. And that's our first corner of our granny or crochet square. Now we're going to place 1 double crochet in the next 8 back loop stitches. Okay, so there's my first 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So here's my corner. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then I stitched 1 double crochet working in the back loops in the next 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I need 1 more. Let's make sure and count again just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoops. All right, so now we're going to place another corner here. So we're going to stitch 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets in that stitch. And again, we're working in the back loops only. All right, so now we're going to place 1 double crochet in the next 8 double crochet stitches, but again, we're still working in those back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you can see how we're forming the square of our granny square. Let's count and make sure I did it right. So here's my corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so now I'm going to do my next corner. Again, working in the back loops. 1, 2, chain 2, and 1 and 2. So there's my third corner. All right, and then I'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 8. I'll make a corner, then the last 8, and we'll join to our chain 3. And you can see how our square is turning out. So I've completed these last 2 sides. I did the corners, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet for the corner, and then 8 double crochets across, and repeat corner and 8 double crochets. All right, now we're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. We're going to slip stitch in the next double crochet and then slip stitch in the corner and chain 3. All right, so now we just have one more row to do, and it's super easy. We're going to place a second double crochet in that corner, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, and that will be our first corner. Now we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of these stitches across. So you have 12 double crochets across, and that brings us to our next corner. And we'll place 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets for our second corner. And so now we need to place 1 double crochets in each of these double crochets across. Oops. There's 10, 11, and 12. So we have 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the corner, and then 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across, which will give us 12, and then we'll repeat that on these last 2 sides. I've completed those last 2 sides. I'm going to join to my chain 3, and I'm going to cut my yarn and tie off. Alright, so I'm going to go in that next stitch, pull that loop through so we get a nice clean finish, and we'll tie off to the back. Now, if you want to make your square even bigger, you can continue to repeat these rows, and keep in mind you'll have 2 at the beginning and end of each of these, so you'll increase by 4 stitches on each of your sides, but you can continue to make your square as big as you would like. I like the 6-inch square, and I've got in mind what I'm going to do. Like I said, I think I'm going to make a blanket, but who knows? So here's our completed paw print square, and make sure you take a few minutes to weave in those ends. And like I said, it's a 6-inch square, and you can do whatever you want with it. Make a blanket, make a bag, make a scarf, put pockets on a sweater. Whatever you want to do with this pattern, it's a super fun pattern.